Welcome to the Buick Outdoors Podcast. I'm your host, Sheldon Marion, and on this podcast, we dive deep into the outdoors. We discuss hunting and fishing techniques, give you tips and tricks, tell stories, and everything in between to help you enjoy the outdoors. Hey everyone, welcome to Buick Outdoors. My name is Sheldon Marion, and today I'm here to tell you about my new book, September, A Hunter's Month. This is the first book I've ever published, and it's a collection of stories from when I spent about a month down in Tumbler Ridge area in the mountains doing some hunting. There's lots of hunting stories about grouse, elk, moose, deer, and trying to stay away from the grizzlies. It's available now on Amazon. I'll leave a little link in the description below for you, or you can just search up September, A Hunter's Month, and you should find it on there. There's an ebook, there's a paperback, and there's also a hardcover. So I'd appreciate it if you guys went out and if you check that out. And when you're done reading it, please leave me a review on Amazon and let me know how I did. It is my first book, so take that with a grain of salt, and I hope you enjoy. Well, welcome back to another Buick Outdoors podcast. On my last bear hunt there, I had a couple of questions about pretty much like safe handling of bear meat. So I figured while I'm out here camping and stuff, sitting around the fire, I'd record a podcast and answer some of the questions. Unfortunately, I don't have any phone service right here, so I can't double check and get like the exact questions or who wrote it, but maybe up here or whatever. I'll put the actual question here and see how far off I am. But basically, from what I remember, they're basically asking like, how many bears have trichinosis? Do they all have them? Do they have worms? And like safe handling of them. How do you cook them? And how do you process the bears? And like right off the hop though, I'm not a professional at all. I'm just a guy that has shot a ton of bears. Doesn't mean I'm a biologist or anything like that. I haven't really studied them. And so my understanding is just kind of stuff that I've picked up on throughout the years. And so basically when it comes to like trichinosis, from my understanding of it, it's pretty well any meat-eating mammal. So when it comes to like black bears, grizzlies, cougars, bobcat, lynx, even things I think like walrus and seal, and for sure polar bears, they all have potential of having trichinosis. Oh, and pigs is the other one. With pigs though, it's a little bit different because nowadays with new feeds and dewormers and stuff like that, like when I had pigs at my place out in Buick, when they're like a few weeks old, I can't remember how old they were, maybe a month or two or whatever, but you actually give them like a dewormer, and then it clears them all out if they do have trichinosis, and then you just pretty well grain feed pigs, and that's how it is, kind of like industry standards now for pigs. So when you go and you have a pork chop, you can eat those medium rare, and you shouldn't have an issue with that. But yeah, all other animals there, and especially bears, they have trichinosis. Quite a few of them have it. I know in the States there is places where you can actually take a sample of your bear meat and they test for it. But up here in Canada, I really don't think there is anything like that up here. And so for that, I mean, just I lean on the side of caution. And there are some things, and they're almost like wives' tales, where they say if you freeze the meat for 30 days, it kills it. I'm not 100% convinced on that, because a lot of people say that it doesn't kill it. So for me, I just cook it to well done, that 160 degrees Fahrenheit. But there's also been new studies where it shows if you cook it at a certain temperature for a certain length of time, it'll kill it. So there's been guys supposedly eating like medium rare black bears because they cook it, they bring it up to like that 140 degrees temperature, but then they hold it for like 2 hours. So that there might be new studies on that, but I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that. And when it comes to black bears with trichinosis, some bears have it, some don't. You can't tell by just looking at it. You actually have to get it tested under like a microscope, I believe. And so for that, I lean on the side of caution, where I just believe that every bear has trichinosis, and that's what I keep it at, because like the symptoms of trichinosis is terrible. It's like muscle cramps, muscle spasms, diarrhea, excruciating pain in your guts, and like I just don't want it. One of the guys, I think it might have been like Steve Renella's brother, he said he wouldn't mind getting trichinosis again because of how good you feel after you get over it. So I mean, like, it shows like how bad it is. It's kind of like when you have a bad flu. It's terrible when you feel back to 100%. Man, you feel like you're 1,000%. The relief is so overwhelming. But yeah, like that's, and I mean, like, that's really all I know about trichinosis. Again, like, I don't really study it. I just kind of assume all bears have it, and I just treat it like that. When it comes to, I think he mentioned something about worms, and I'm not exactly sure what he meant by the worms, because trichinosis, what it is, trichinosis that you eat is the egg sac of the worms. So he was saying, I'm pretty sure he was saying, a bear that they got, there was actually worms like wiggling throughout the meat. So maybe what that is the trichinosis no longer in the larvae stage and they're actually into the worm stage. And that might have been what he's seen. I'm not too sure. I haven't seen that, and I've butchered, I shouldn't say butchered, but I've shot and like skinned and stuff. I don't even know, probably 25, 30 bears now. And I've never seen actual worms. I've seen like maggots or something like that after if somebody's left it out hanging in a hot May day kind of thing. But other than that, I've never actually seen the worms wiggling around. And what he had, like I said, it could have been the trichinosis no longer in the larvae stage and actually in the worm stage. And then when it comes to processing bears, for me, like, I have done it in the past, but I'm definitely not a butcher. I'm not an expert. You know, in the back loins, you kind of have like up by the shoulder blades and the ribs, you kind of have like your rib eyes. Past that, it kind of goes into like, I want to say New York's, and then out by the hips is kind of like your sirloins. But I know even that, I think the sirloin comes off the hind hip, like the hind quarter. But I mean, like, I've done it before, and I've made up like, I wouldn't call them steaks, but like bear chops, I guess. And I've just done that by slicing up the back straps. Pretty well just pull all the silver skin off and all the connective tissues, and then I just either make like half-inch, kind of, yeah, about half-inch steaks, or you do like a 1 inch if it's a smaller bear. You do 1 inch, but then in the middle you go about 3/4 of the way down, maybe even 7/8 of the way down, and then stop, and then it butterflies it out. So, and it's a nice wide steak instead of this little itty bitty thing. But yeah, other than that, you know, when you take apart like the hind quarter too, you can see like the seams and stuff, all the connective tissues. But there's, you know, when it comes to butchering, when it comes to like a cow, there's so many other cuts because like their tri-tips or whatever are actually like big pieces of meat. Where on like something like a bear, a tri-tip might be just a little sliver, so you don't even consider it like a roast or a steak or anything like that. And then there's on the top right hip up here, like where your butt cheek is, I'm pretty sure that's your sirloin. And then there's the inside round, outside round, and then the eye of round. And that's kind of 3 muscles. I believe it's kind of on like the inside of your leg. They're all kind of connected together. And the eye of round is just the toughest, most stringiest meat ever. If you ever see an eye of round roast at the grocery store, like, just do yourself a favor and avoid it like the plague. It's one of the worst cuts of meat there is. I don't know why they make that into a roast. That should all just be turned into burger. The inside round, it's okay. The outside round, again, it's okay. And then that eye of round is it's just brutal. But like when it comes to bears, for the most part, I get a couple of roasts made up, and it's usually just from the back straps, and then everything else goes into hamburger or into pepperoni, sausage, smokies, whatever. But they all start as hamburger as well. One thing you can do too, if you get like a spring bear especially, or if you get a bear that's been like in fish habitat eating salmon and stuff, you don't want to touch that fat at all. You can get a little bit of pork fat or beef fat and mix that in with your ground when you're doing it. And that way, because like a spring bear, like people say bears are greasy and their fat is, but their meat isn't. Their meat is extremely lean. So if you want like a really nice burger to make up I don't know, say spaghetti or whatever. Just straight bear meat. I personally like it. It reminds me of kind of like buffalo almost, or like bison, or whatever you want to call it. But for some people, it's a little too lean for them because it's just pure meat. Like there's no fat at all within the meat itself. So if you want to do yourself a favor, you can get just beef fat or pork fat from your local butcher. I think in Butcher Block in Fort St. John, it's like $1.60 a pound for beef fat, and I buy that quite a bit because I make my own beef lard. And yeah, just mix that in with your bear, and it's great. And basically, if I ever do that, what I'll do, depending on the grinder that you have, like the cheaper, like $80 like LEM ones, you want to have like 1-inch cubes. You don't want to have strips. But if you have like the one of the more expensive LEMs or whatever, like the Megabyte or something like that, or the Cabela's, they have a couple that are like 1 horsepower or something like that. Like they're actually pretty powerful. You can do just like long strips. But what I do is I kind of alternate between a couple chunks of meat, chunk of fat, and then that way when it gets into your bin, it's all pretty well mixed in as is. And then from there, you can make all sorts of stuff. If you make sausage though, you gotta make sure that when you cook it to that 160 degrees. And that's why I really like smokies, because with smokies, you put them into your smoker, you basically cook the hell out of them, and then you temperature test uh, quite a few of them, and just to make sure that they all reach that 160. And then when they do, you package them up, you freeze them, and then when you go pull them out, like you already know they've already been cooked to that 160. So when it's time for you to cook them, you can either shove them on a stick and cook them over a fire, or you can like boil them for a minute or two, kind of a thing, and then like fry them up on a frying pan, and they're just excellent. They're great for when you're doing stuff like this. I would have some with me, but I'm pretty sure I've ran out now. Where like there's been lots of times out driving around hunting or out camping like this, I'll have 1 or 2 packages just in the cooler, and then days like today, mid-afternoon, you're kind of hungry, shove one on a stick, warm it up over the fire, throw a little ketchup on it, and it's amazing. But yeah, and then when it comes to like your roast and stuff like that, it's pretty easy to dry them out. Uh, Again though, I like it. A lot of people probably won't though, because it is such a lean roast. There's hardly any fat on there. When you slowly cook it like that, it does tend to dry it out. When I make a roast though, I put it into a little roast pan, and I'll put in a bunch of like carrots and stuff like that, and then probably about a 1/2 inch of like beef broth, and then just slowly cook it for a few hours, and take it out, temperature test it, make sure it's at 160, and then you're good to go. With that though, like I said, like it does dry it out, but I mean it's still good. I think what a lot of people have in mind is like when they think of meat, they think meat. Meat is not just meat. If you have a bear roast, you're eating bear. You're not eating a cow roast. Like when you look at a cow roast, all the connective tissues, and in between the meat fibers and stuff, you see these little strands of fat. Bears very rarely have that. So I mean, it'll dry it out, but like the flavor is amazing. There's a lot of people like even back in like the mountain man days, they would shoot deer, skin them, throw the meat away. They'd shoot a bear, skin them, throw the hide away, and eat the bear. Like they wouldn't even touch deer because it wasn't good compared to bear. But that's just my 2 cents on that. I really enjoy it, but I mean, I also, when I eat things, I eat what I'm eating. I don't eat an elk expecting it to taste like beef or moose. When I eat a moose, I expect it to taste like moose. I don't expect it to taste like buffalo or elk, or you know what I mean. And then one thing too, when it comes to like skinning and butchering bears, and I'm not 100% convinced. Like I'm not convinced at all about it. But some people are saying that if you have any like nicks or cuts on your hands or on your fingers or whatever, supposedly there is a chance that you can get trichinosis from messing with the meat if you have a cut. somehow or another, they're saying that it'll get into that cut, get into your bloodstream, and then you'll get trichinosis. But I'm like maybe 1% convinced of that there's any truth to that. Mainly because everything else that I've read, the only way you can get trichinosis, again, not an expert, the only way you can get trichinosis is when you digest or when you ingest that larvae and it goes into your stomach, and then your stomach acid actually dissolves that outside egg sac, and then the worm comes to life and it goes throughout your body that way. But yeah, I don't know. Like I've said though, I've shot and ate 25, 30 bears, something like that. I don't know. It's been a lot. And so far, I've never got it. My brother, my woman, my dad, my cousin, my mom, nobody has gotten it so far. Now, does that mean that our bears don't have trichinosis? Or does that mean that we've taken the proper steps to kill the trichinosis? Or is it a little mixture of both? I don't really know. One of the stats in United States is it was something like astronomical, like 90% of the trichinosis cases in the United States came from people eating bear. And the amount of people that eat bear is like a fraction of the population. So I mean, maybe they have more trichinosis down south as we do up north. I don't know. And even like talking to like guide and outfitters, I haven't heard of anybody saying that like they've gotten trick from any bears that they've gotten. So I mean, I don't know. We might have it, we might not. I'm a firm believer that we do have it. So I'm not messing around with it because the symptoms sound like a living hell if you do get it. So I just stay away from that. And then yesterday I recorded a podcast on all the gear that I use. And one thing I didn't mention was like how I hunt bears. And to be honest with you, and to be quite frank, it's the laziest hunt I ever do. And it's because I grab my dogs, my gun, my camera equipment, sometimes my woman, sometimes my brother, whoever. We hop into the truck and we just drive down the road. We drive down the road, we look at like these nice grassy patches like this here, or grassy hills or grassy pipelines, and basically we just drive until we see one. Like there's no industry secrets to what I do. I just put on 1,000 kilometers on my truck to shoot, my 2 bears. Maybe Shelby gets a bear, my brother gets a bear, whatever. Like it's just a lot of driving, a lot of podcasts, audiobooks, a lot of stories, and petting my dogs, having a good time, and like there's nothing really to it. In other provinces and other states, you're able to bait bears, and that would be nice if we could do that here, so you could be a little more selective. But unfortunately in BC, it's illegal to bait bears. So yeah, we do the next best thing and we kind of let nature bait them, basically. Especially like the first couple weeks in May, when all the green grasses and clovers are just starting to grow. Like the only place that you find a bear essentially is on the sides of roads or down pipelines or cut lines, because that's the only place that their food is actually growing, other than the very tops of poplar trees. I've shot one bear out of a tree, and that was like still in April, because he was at the very top of a poplar tree eating the little buds. You'll see them climbing up those trees just to eat those buds, because at that time of the year, if they're awake, that's the only food source that they have. I gotta throw another log on the fire. Get rid of this smoke. There we go. Maybe one more. So yeah, when it comes to hunting bears, I absolutely love it, because it's like you get rid of your cabin fever, because all winter long you've been kind of sitting in the house doing your thing or whatever, because you can only go out certain days in the winter up here because it gets so cold. But yeah, if you finally get out, you get out of the house, you enjoy some time out in nature again. Things are just starting to grow. You're starting to see new life kind of forming around you, and it's also just so enjoyable for me, because I can hunt with my dogs. Like my dogs, they mean to me like to me, my dogs are almost like what kids are to other people, kind of thing. And unfortunately, I just don't have kids. Don't think I'm able to have them. So for me, the next best thing are my dogs. So like my dogs are my kids, in a way, like whatever, however you want to take that. But like for me, anytime I'm able to go outside and do something with my pups, it's like it's perfect for me. Like right now, they're all laying underneath the truck here in the shade because it's kind of hot out today. But yeah, they were with me. I want to say almost every bear I've ever shot, I had my dog in the truck. Pretty sure. Yeah, because I just outright don't hunt without my dogs. And even when I go fishing, I like to bring my dogs with me. I got a boat right now, it's getting worked on, but like, if it's big enough to bring my dogs, you'll see me out on the ocean trolling for salmon and my dog will poke his head out. Well, we had some technical difficulties with the fire there. I was getting smoked out. But yeah, I was talking about the dogs there and how, like even with the ocean boat, it's big enough that I can bring my dogs with me. So if I'm out trolling for salmon or anchored up somewhere, I can almost guarantee you my dog will stick his head out and check you out. And that's one thing I really want to do next year. Probably in about June, maybe July. I'll have to check like fishing reports and all that stuff. And like, but whatever. What I want to do is I want to take my 3 weeks off again, sometime between June and July, and head down to Kitimat with the boat. And I'll have to check maps and stuff and see where all the docks are and stuff that you can tie up to. Because I know there's one at Bishop Bay where the hot springs are. And I believe there's a couple others out there. I'm not too familiar. I haven't really looked into it all that much. It's just one of those things where I came up with a thought and that was about as far as it went. But it would be nice if I can go out there and tie up to one of the docks at night. And then I can bring my dogs with me and go fishing during the day. Head back to the dock in the afternoon or the evening or whatever. Go to the hot spring. Let the dogs run around. They can do their stuff on the beach or whatever. And yeah, it'd be a great time. I took the boys with me when we were in Powell River. And we went to catch a couple of box crabs. They're Puget Sound king crab. And the boys, they were fine on the boat. Rocky there, he was just in his element. He absolutely loved it. He just sat in the seat, smiled, wagged his tail, looked out at the water, sniffed the crabs, like no problem. He was meant for the boat, which is perfect for me. And then Texas, he was a little bit freaked out a little, when we were driving, but once we were done driving, he was good. And for me, like, my big plan here is once the truck is paid off, I'm gonna get a hold of a yacht broker, wherever, Vancouver, Nanaimo, whatever, and I'm gonna seriously look at buying a trawler, like a 32 to 41 foot trawler kind of thing with a diesel engine in it, aft cabin, fly bridge, all that good stuff. And then going forward, pretty well every time I take 3 weeks off of work, I'll go down to the coast, I'll hop onto my trawler, and I'll spend 3 weeks, cruising the west coast. It's been kind of like a dream of mine since I was probably about 11, 12 years old when I seen like my first trawler. We were all in the ocean. I was like, oh, hey, look at that thing. It's like a giant, holiday trailer that floats. And then my one uncle had one down in Stewart. And like, man, that's just, I spent like a day on that boat, and ever since then it's been just hooked into me. Like, that's exactly what I want to do. And then plus with my, like, I don't know, adventurous spirit or like exploring or whatever, I get into so much trouble as is just looking at Google Maps on like just this area alone. And I go, where does that road go? When my next day is off, I hop into my truck, fill up the gas tank, and I just go for a drive for like 8 hours or however long it takes me. And I just go and I check out some of these beautiful, incredible places. And I can only imagine when I have like a big trawler boat, I'm going to put in most likely an extra gas tank so I can hold like 1,000 gallons of fuel. And I can just go for like, whatever, 1,000 miles. Because like there's so many little inlets and bays and stuff where like I look at a map and like I don't want to go there just to see the mountains. I want to go there to figure out, like, is there crabs where that river flows in? Is there salmon there? Is there greenling? Can I can I put on a wetsuit and dive for sea urchins and get uni? Like, you know, for me, like, the west coast of BC is just heaven to me. And like, now every February, now that I started last year, I went down for 3 weeks. Well, I guess it was about a week and a half, 2 weeks. But now going forward, every single February, I'm taking 3 weeks off of work. I'm loading up the truck with the dogs, and we're going south. Cause like that was one of the most unbelievable trips I've ever had. Even though I was 3/4 of the way dead the entire time because of bad heart medication I was on. But you know, I left Hudson Hope and it was minus 36. I drove. Well, I actually had to drive to Chetwynd, have a doctor's appointment. We left the doctor's office at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I drove all the way to Whistler that day. We slept in the truck for about 3 hours, and by I think it was 8 a.m. 8 yeah, whenever the first ferry leaves Horseshoe Bay, I was on that ferry. And when I was on that ferry, it was +6. I couldn't, like, it just baffled my mind that, you know, the day before it was minus 36 and now it was +6. It was just, I don't know, it was just mind-boggling to me. And then even when we were there, I heard a lawnmower in February. Like, I don't know if that's just my redneck ass or what, but like, that baffled my mind that people were mowing their lawns in February. Another thing too that had me kind of like, not exactly starstruck, I don't know what the words is for it, but like, up here it was too cold to go fishing. Like, I have some circulation problems now with my fingers and my toes and stuff. So if it's colder than like minus 15 or minus 20, like, it's almost too cold for me to go outside, kind of a thing, because I'm so broken now. But like, it was too cold to fish up here. Down south, I was in like knee deep water. I was reaching my hands into the ocean and I was hand picking mussels and oysters and clams, and like, I didn't get cold. Like, that alone, like, if the houses weren't so much money down there, I would have came back from that trip in February. I would have packed my bags, I would have sold the house, and I would have moved in March. Like, hands down, I absolutely love that place. And like, the more time I spend down south along the coast, the more I just want to be there. You know, like, even like, I just can't fathom in February I was in water and I wasn't cold. Like, it just, oh. One thing that was funny to me too is, I think it was in Nanaimo. It was in Nanaimo or Duncan. There was, like, it snowed a little bit, but, you know, the sun came out and it was all melting away within that day, kind of thing. But, you know, there might have been an inch of snow, like, in parts. It wasn't like an inch of snow everywhere. It was just like, there's some shade in the one building, so where the sun didn't hit it, there was some snow, basically. And people were walking around and they were like, they were furious. They were mad because of how cold it was. And me, I'm walking around in like jeans and a t-shirt saying, wow, I can't believe how warm it is. And like, if that is what a cold winter on the coast is like, I can't even imagine like living there. And like, oh, it was amazing to me because like, for me, I love eating like natural food. And when I say that, I don't mean like hippy dippy, you know, go green kind of stuff. I mean, like, if I want meat, I want to shoot a bear and eat meat. I want to go out and shoot a moose and eat moose. If I want fish, I want to go to the river, to the ocean, to the lake. I want to catch a fish and I want to eat fish. To me, that's what natural food is. And I was able to go out onto a beach, reach down, grab an oyster, take it home, throw it on the barbecue, and cook it and eat it. Like, I didn't have to have somebody else go out and farm an oyster, process it, put it into a can it, send it to the grocery store, have me go down to the grocery store, buy it, and then eat it. And like, that whole process, you take out like the natural out of it. Even though it is like a wild caught oyster or whatever, there's been so many fingers touching it all along the way. Like, to me, it's just like a farmed fish almost at that point. Like, it's just, It's not good. Like, I went out to a rock that's in the ocean, and I grabbed an oyster that grew on this rock. It came, of age or whatever, and I plucked it off of there. I shucked them myself, and I ate it. Like, that to me is just amazing. And down there, you can do that year round. You know, there are winter Chinook that you can catch at certain times. I'm not exactly 100% on that, but Lingcod's closed, but Greenling is open, so you can take your boat out and you can, like, there's people boating and fishing in February. Like, it just, to me, that alone makes me want to move down there. I can take my boat out in February, let alone take your boat out and actually catch you something to eat. And like, we caught crabs in February. We caught oysters, or I didn't catch oysters. We picked oysters. We picked mussels. We picked clams, and like, they're fresh clams, fresh oysters. Like, it doesn't get any better than eating something that you picked like a couple hours ago. And for me, what I want to do this trip around is I want to set up the tent or the trailer or whatever it is that I have down there pretty well right at the beach. And I want to go down. I want to bring something to cook them with. Or maybe just build a fire and roast them over the fire or whatever, And I want to grab it from the ocean, walk over, open them up, and cook it and eat it within it being like 20 minutes from getting plucked out of the water. Like, to me, I don't even know the words to this, to like express how that makes me feel. Like, it's just, I don't know. To me, that feels what nature should be. That's how people should live. Like, I really don't like relying on other people, and it's a bad thing of mine because I'm such a strong, independent type of dude. Where, like, if I ever ask for help, it's because I'm pretty well dead. And like, for something like that, just like the gratitude or whatever you want to call it, like the satisfaction knowing that you're able to go out, pick your own oysters and make your own smoked oysters, or cook them over the fire and put some cheese and hot sauce on it, whatever. Like, it's just, I don't know. I have nothing but good things to say about down south for the fishing and like the nature, and like, you can actually go out. Like, we slept in a tent. So for me, like, up north, like, I love up north. The only thing I don't like about it is so uncomfortable for about 5 months of the year, because like, you can't just drive out here. There's too much snow on the road. You can't just throw your tent out and sleep in it with a sleeping bag because you'll freeze to death. Where down south, that's all I brought. I brought a tent and a little heater. I think we used it the one night. And other than that, like, you can go camping every single month of the year. Some months you might get a little wetter than others. Like in September, it rains like crazy. But bring a rain jacket, you know what I mean? Oh man, like, being up north, like, I do enjoy being up north, and I do love the places that we call home. But the older I get, the more I want to make this place a place that I visit. Down south. And it's not just, like, there's a lot of people that kind of go down south because of the warmth and the weather and because they get out of the cold. And it's kind of why I want to do it too. But for me, it's mainly because when it's warm, I can go camping. When it's warm, I can go fishing. When it's warm, you know what I mean? Like, there's not these setbacks. There's nothing holding you back. If it's raining, I'll throw on a rain jacket, bring a tarp in your tent, And yeah, we're up north. Like, it's beautiful, and like, we do have a lot of things to do, but there's a lot of stuff to hold you back too. And like, for me in the winter, like I do, like, I can honestly say I get depressed in the winter. Like, you don't get very much sunlight. When you do go outside, you're so bundled up so you don't freeze to death, so you don't absorb any sunlight. I take vitamin D drops. Like, I don't know if you can overdose on vitamin D drops, but I'm pretty sure I've tried. And like, the thing is too, it's not just like the sunlight and it being cold. It's just, I'm stuck inside. Like, the amount of like Call of Duty I play in the winter is mind-boggling because there's kind of nothing else to do. I can do podcasts in my office. I can study some things. I can learn a little bit, but you can only do so much of that before you just go stir crazy. And pretty soon I'm pacing back and forth, wanting to go outside, and then when I finally do go outside, because of, especially now because of my stupid heart condition, I damn near die. I do one thing without gloves on, well, even with gloves on, you know, my fingers, they turn white, my toes turn white, I lose circulation, I can't feel nothing, and like, oh, it's just no fun. So like, I already had a bad taste in my mouth with the cold, and now like I have an actual reason for it. But yeah, I don't know. It was nice talking to you guys sitting around by the fire here, but I think now it's getting to be about 4:30 now, so I should probably split up some more wood and get ready to start cooking some supper. I got a ribeye steak, can of beans. I got some more canned vegetables. I ate them yesterday and they were horrible, but I don't know. I got them, so I should probably eat them. I wanted to bring regular vegetables with me, but with it being so hot, I was kind of worried that they would just kind of wilt or turn to mush or whatever. So I don't know. I'll get something cooked up here for supper. But anyways, guys, thanks for sitting around the fire with me and shooting the shit kind of a thing. And yeah, make sure you check out the bear hunt that I just did. And yeah, check out the videos that I'm doing right now exploring this area. We checked out some dinosaur tracks, checked out the big waterfall, the little waterfall. And yeah, we're just having a good time out in the woods now that it quit raining. So yeah, appreciate you listening, appreciate you watching. Subscribe if you like, and we'll catch you on the next one.